Sorry about that, guys. Anyway, this is Lance from Cinematography here, and I decided to give the sunglasses a break for today just because I'm wearing this fedora. I just don't want it to be overkill, you know? So, yeah, anyway, I'm reviewing the classic 1981 Steven Spielberg, George Lucas collaboration film, Raiders of the Lost Ark. The basic plot of this movie is pretty simple to explain. Basically, it's the 1930s. Hitler wants the Ark of the Covenant, so the Nazis set out to get the Ark of the Covenant, and Indiana Jones, an adventurer slash archaeologist slash adventurer, is out to stop them from getting the Lost Ark. The story behind Raiders of the Lost Ark basically is summed up by the fact that Steven Spielberg, he had been looking to direct a James Bond film. And meanwhile, George Lucas, in the midst of the success that the original Star Wars was having in theaters, he decided to kind of take a break. And I think one day, he and Steven Spielberg met up in Hawaii, and George Lucas basically discussed this idea that he had about Indiana Jones. Steven Spielberg was talking to him about how he wanted to direct a Bond film, but Lucas told him, no, I got something better. And then he told him about Indiana Jones. I don't know if he called him Indiana Jones at the time. I think it was Indiana Smith. But anyway, he asked Spielberg if he was on board to direct it, and he was. Now, to start off in 2008, I hadn't seen any of the Indiana Jones films, and I become a Star Wars fan, a fan of the original Star Wars trilogy, and I was still blossoming into the film buff I am today. And even today, I'm still blossoming. There's still a lot of movies that I have yet to see, but I had not seen Indiana Jones, and knowing that George Lucas and Steven Spielberg were involved, I definitely was extremely interested in watching the films. So what I actually did, and what piqued my interest, is the fact that the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull is coming out later that year. I actually went out and bought the whole box set without having seen any of these movies, because I was so sure so confident that I was going to love them. So, did I regret my choice? No way, Jose. By the way, if there's somebody named Jose out there watching this video, I'm not directing that at you. That's just an expression that I'm using. Just, whatever. Just forget I said that. The acting in this movie is very, very good, as are the characters. Obviously, Harrison Ford is Indiana Jones. Believe it or not, George Lucas actually did not want Harrison Ford to be Indiana Jones, because Harrison Ford was already Han Solo in the Star Wars films, and he was becoming a bigger name, and George Lucas didn't want to be like Martin Scorsese and Robert De Niro, where he continually cast him in his films. But Steven Spielberg recommended, no, Harrison Ford, I promise you he's perfect for this role. And I'm glad Lucas listened to him. And I'm glad that Spielberg stuck to his guns and said, no, I want Harrison Ford. Not that Tom Selleck, who was originally cast in the role, not that he would have been bad, but I'm just really glad Harrison Ford was born to play this role. He brings such a charm and such a likability to this character. I mean, I can't really describe it easily. Like, Indiana Jones is such a great character. The thing I probably love the most about Indiana Jones is his sense of vulnerability. The guy knows how to take a beating. And, I mean, especially, you look at so many guys around. A lot of guys probably aren't the best fighters. They're probably not the best whatever. And I just love the fact that Indiana Jones, he's just a regular guy. He can't get beaten down. He's not invincible. He's not like Rambo. He's not like he's not just a superhero out there winning all the time. And of course, Indiana Jones has great fashion sense. In a lot of ways, this movie kind of feels like a comic book, considering all the other characters too. You've got his love interest, Karen Allen, as Marion Ravenwood, and I really love her in this movie. She's not like your stereotypical damsel in distress, or she's not your stereotypical love interest. She's not like Mary Jane from the Spider-Man series. She might be in distress every once in a while, but she really knows how to pack a punch in addition to that. And Karen Allen brings such a ruggedness to her character. She's really cool. That's what I like about her. She really is the girl for Indiana Jones out of the hundreds of girls he's been with. The character Sala, played by John Rhys Davies, he's Indiana Jones' sidekick, and he's a very good character too, very funny. I personally feel Raiders of the Lost Ark is a masterpiece. I feel like it is a perfectly directed film. It does everything that it needs to do so well. One of the things I really love about it is how well Spielberg captures the mystery of the film. The look of the film, the cinematography is so excellent. It has this kind of look about it. It seems like it could be made way back in it's based on 1930s serials, but it's in color. But at the same time, it has a really classic 1930s vintage look about it, and I really like that. I love this film's use of shadows. It has many uses of shadow in this film. One of them is when Indiana Jones is first introduced, when we first see him, just how he's standing there when those two guys are trying to attack him, and you just see the back of him, and then when he turns around, you just see his face, the silhouette of his face, and then it zooms in on him. It's such a great use of shadow there. And also when Indiana Jones and Sala discover the Ark of the Covenant, you see their shadows on the walls because the Ark is shining, and you basically see their shadows as they're walking along, heaving this Ark. And I don't know, something about that just really adds to the mysterious tone of this film. That scene with the boulder at the beginning, the opening scene, is absolutely perfect. I mean, again, the direction, the cinematography, the use of shadows, everything about that scene is just so well directed. Score by John Williams, man. This would not be a complete review if I did not mention his score. Now, I cannot pick a favorite score of all time. I don't even know if I can pick a favorite John Williams score, because just looking at his library alone, so many different films that you can pick from. But Raiders of the Lost Ark has to be up there. I mean, his music, his score for this film, it captures the mystery, it captures the exciting part, the action, everything about it. It captures romantic parts. It's such a great score and instantly recognizable. You just automatically find yourself humming along to it without even realizing you're doing that. And one of the greatest elements about this film, maybe my favorite element about this film, is the action. Indiana Jones is my favorite action hero of all time, and the scene that perfectly defines him for me in this movie is the truck chase. Hands down, the truck chase. And I remember the first time I ever watched this movie, leading up to that point, like looking back in retrospect, I think every single part of this movie is brilliant. But when I first was watching this movie back in 2008, when I was 15, I was like, this is a good movie. I'm really enjoying this movie. I can see why so many people love it, but I'm just not quite sure that it struck that chord with me so far. Then we enter the truck chase, and my jaw is dropped. My eyes are open. I'm just staring at the scene. You're watching that action going on. You see Indiana Jones knocking Nazis out of the car, and you see him being drugged by the truck, going under the truck, and getting back on the truck, and beating the pulp out of that Nazi. You hear John Williams' riveting score. Dun, 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 dun. But yeah, that truck chase is probably my favorite scene out of all the Indiana Jones films. It just perfectly captures everything you love about the character. You know, you even see him, you see him get shot in the arm and get punched in the arm and thrown out of the windshield. I mean, you really see him as that vulnerable action hero, and again, that's what you love about Indiana Jones. The movie is also hilarious. Most people think of The Last Crusade as being the funniest Indiana Jones film, and I'm generally inclined to agree with that. Last Crusade is hilarious, but Raiders of the Lost Ark, it has some scenes that, in my opinion, one up the comedy in Last Crusade, and one of those scenes is a scene where Indiana Jones is in the desert and he's looking for Marion, and basically this swordsman, the crowd clears, and the swordsman challenges Indiana Jones to a duel. He starts swinging around his sword, doing all sorts of fancy moves with it and stuff, and Indiana Jones, he's tired, he's hot, he's worn out, he's had a rough day, he just pulls out his pistol, bang! I feel like such a sadist for laughing at that scene. The other scene that cracks me up that no one really talks about in that regard, but I find it so hilarious, is when Indy's fighting the big Nazi by the plane, and Indy's on the ground, the Nazi's beating him to a pulp. Boom, boom, he punches him, and Indy's just on the ground, and he's watching, and that plane meanwhile is moving, and Indy just looks up, and he's like smiling and stuff, and then he just puts his head down and covers himself, and the Nazi's like, what the heck? He turns around, and then you just see blood splatter on the plane, and it's just so funny. I'm sorry, I feel evil for laughing at stuff like that, but that is hilarious. Raiders of the Lost Ark is not only my favorite Indiana Jones film, it's my favorite Steven Spielberg film, and that's saying a lot, and it's one of my favorite movies of all time. I'm going to give it an A+. Anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed this review. I hope you got some entertainment value out of it. And I am going to be reviewing the rest of the Indiana Jones films. Anyway, guys, if you like this review, please click the like button and subscribe to my channel. And just stay tuned for those. And I hope you all have a great day. This is Lance from Cinematic Galaxy, signing off.